In the beginning, there was a need for protection and warmth, and thus began the journey of clothing. As we travel back in time, we find ourselves in the heart of early civilizations. The elements were harsh and unforgiving, and the human body, as resilient as it is, needed a shield. This need sparked the birth of clothing, a simple solution to a complex problem. The earliest civilizations did not have the luxury of the vast array of materials we have today. Instead, they turned to what was readily available: animal skins and plant materials. These were manipulated and fashioned into rudimentary forms of clothing. But let's be clear, the early humans were not walking around in button-up shirts or trendy blouses. No, their attire was much simpler and, dare we say, more practical. The concept of a shirt as we understand it today simply did not exist. Instead, our ancestors opted for simple tunics or wraps. These early pieces of clothing were designed for practicality, not aesthetics. They served a purpose: to provide warmth, protection, and in some cases, a sense of modesty. They were not meant to make a fashion statement or to be a symbol of status or wealth. The process of creating these early clothes was laborious and time-consuming. Crafting a single piece of clothing could take days, if not weeks, of hard work. Every stitch was made by hand, every piece of fabric carefully chosen and prepared. The lack of shirts as we know them today does not mean that early humans were any less creative or innovative. On the contrary, they were able to utilize the resources available to them to create functional and effective clothing. From these simple, practical garments, we see the first inklings of what would eventually evolve into the shirt. They may not have been stylish, they may not have been elaborate, but they were necessary, and they were the start of something big. From these humble beginnings, we see the birth of the earliest forms of the shirt. As we travel to the sun-drenched lands of ancient Egypt, we find the first true ancestors of the modern shirt. Here, in a civilization that blossomed along the fertile banks of the Nile, the art of fashion took a significant stride forward. The linen calasiris, a traditional, tightly fitted garment, was the clothing of choice for both men and women. Crafted from flax plants grown along the Nile, these garments were the epitome of simplicity and functionality. Initially, they were simple wraps, draped and tied around the body. However, as the Egyptians mastered the craft of weaving, the calasiris evolved into a more tailored piece of clothing. This was a time when sewing was more than a craft. It was an innovation. Techniques were developed to stitch together pieces of linen, allowing for fitted garments that echoed the contours of the body. The calasiris, once a simple wrap, transformed into a tunic-like garment, often featuring decorative pleating or fringe. But fashion in ancient Egypt was more than just a matter of style or comfort. It was a reflection of one's status in society. The quality, color, and complexity of a person's calasiris could speak volumes about their wealth and social standing. The finest, most intricately designed calasiris were reserved for pharaohs and high-ranking officials, their garments often adorned with gold thread and precious gems. Clothing in ancient Egypt was not merely functional, but deeply symbolic. Every thread, every stitch, every pleat was a testament to the wearer's place in the grand scheme of Egyptian society. Even in death, Egyptians were buried with their finest calasiris, the quality of which reflected their status in the afterlife. And so, the calasiris of ancient Egypt stands as a pivotal chapter in the history of fashion. It was more than just a garment. It was an embodiment of status, an expression of identity, a symbol of cultural sophistication. The calasiris of ancient Egypt, the earliest known predecessor of the shirt, a symbol of status and refinement. Moving forward in time, we arrive in the grandeur of ancient Greece and Rome, where the shirt continues its evolution. As we traverse through the marble pillars and cobblestone streets of ancient Greece, we encounter the chiton, a variation of the shirt that took center stage in this era. The chiton was a rectangular piece of linen or wool, folded over and fastened at the shoulder. This cleverly simplistic design allowed for a variety of styles, from the short chiton worn by athletes to the longer, more elegant versions sported by Greek nobility. But the evolution didn't stop there. The chiton's design was further enhanced with the addition of sleeves. Sleeves offered not just a functional benefit, protecting the arms from the Mediterranean sun, but they also added a touch of sophistication to the garment. The Greeks, notorious for their love of elegance and detail, transformed the simplistic chiton into a fashion statement. Our journey doesn't end in Greece. Crossing over to the mighty Roman Empire, we find the tunica, a Roman take on the shirt. Styled similarly to the Greek chiton, the tunica was also worn by both genders, with variations in length and design to denote social status. However, the Romans added their unique touch. They often wore the tunica in layers, a fashion choice that allowed for more warmth in the cooler Italian climate. The influence of the Roman military on the tunica cannot be overlooked. The Roman soldiers wore a shorter, more practical version of the tunica, allowing for freedom of movement in battle. This military-style tunica, with its practicality and durability, influenced not just the Romans, but future generations as well, a testament to the enduring influence of the Roman Empire on fashion. The Greeks and Romans played a pivotal role in the evolution of the shirt, adding design elements and practical features that would shape the future of fashion. With the Greeks and Romans, the shirt begins to take on a form more recognizable to us today. As we approach the time of Christ, we find the shirt has evolved into a garment of importance and versatility. It's not merely a piece of cloth anymore. It has become a canvas for people to express their individuality, their status, and their cultural heritage. Across the globe, from the frigid climates of the north to the sweltering heat of the tropics, the shirt has found its place. Each region, with its unique culture and climate, has influenced the design and material of the shirt. In the colder regions, we see shirts made of wool, providing warmth and comfort. As we move towards the equator, we find the use of lighter materials like cotton and linen, perfect for the warmer climates. It's fascinating to observe how each culture has put its unique spin on this universal garment. In the East, we see intricate embroideries and vibrant colors reflecting their rich traditions. On the other hand, the West has leaned towards simpler designs and muted colors, highlighting their preference for functionality and minimalism. The shirt has not just been a means of protection against the elements, but it has also served as a status symbol. The quality of the material, the complexity of the design, the precision of the tailoring, each of these elements were a testament to a person's status in society. A finely tailored shirt made of high-quality material spoke volumes about the wearer's wealth and social standing. This status symbolism wasn't limited to just the adult population. Children too had their shirts designed to reflect their family's status. It was a way of showcasing their family's position in the societal hierarchy. Thus, we find the shirt, a garment of necessity, transformed over time into a symbol of culture, status, and individuality. It's a fascinating journey, one that continues even today as we keep reinventing this humble garment to suit our evolving tastes and needs.